for you, but I won't cook that. Sorry.
All right, you ready?
Yeah. Oh, now I'm ready.
All right, you ready? You start whenever you want.
So did you already start the timer?
Yeah, I'll edit out whatever, so it's 15 seconds.
Oh, okay. Welcome back to the Nub. I'm the Merce.
Hey, it's me, Felton.
And Triple B.
Ooh.
All right. So, let's see here. Had a pretty interesting wake up today when I got on the Facebooks and the Instagrams and the Twitters and saw that we're losing Spider-Man from the MCU.
Yeah, did you see my posts in the chat?
I think I did.
I don't feel so good, Mr. Stark.
So apparently, I guess everybody was going balls in on Sony about it, but it turns out it was Marvel that was the issue. Apparently, I guess the deal that they had before was that Marvel would get a 5% on sales, of all the movies and merchandise or whatever the case be that were associated with the movies, right? And Marvel wanted to change that to 50-50, which, I mean, in my opinion, seems fair considering they're doing the majority of the work for putting the movie out. But
yeah,
I guess Sony was not about that life, and so they took their toys and went home.
Yeah, what I heard was that it was the first offer on renegotiating, and they said, "Hey, how about 50-50?" And Sony said, "How about no?"
Yeah, that's what I heard too. So now the internet's going crazy. I keep seeing all these memes and all this stuff, and I'm not gonna lie. Like when I first heard the news, it actually did hurt me a little deeply. Like I was like, oh wow, like we finally got. Well, I shouldn't say finally. I did enjoy the first Spider-Man, the first two movies, I should say. But then, yeah, the third one's absolute trash. But then we had the Amazing Spider-Man was in my opinion complete trash.
Yeah.
So finally we got this. We got Tom Holland, and he is just the epitome of Spider-Man to me. I mean, he does a great job of being both Peter Parker and Spider-Man.
Yes.
He's got the awkwardness, but then when he's Spider-Man, he's got that kind of swagger a little bit, and his funny little comments and his quips and stuff, and he just pulls the whole thing off, in my opinion. So it's very sad to see this go. Although I have a hard time believing that this is just going to be the end of it.
Yeah, I've seen rumors and theories that when Sony pulled out of negotiations, Marvel let it leak to let Sony see the public reaction.
And that makes sense. I mean, this all seems like it's like negotiation ploys.
Yeah.
Like it'd be a shame if everybody knew what you were doing.
Right. Right. Yeah. Which is kind of scary for Disney to have that kind of pull and to be able to manipulate things like that and make Sony their bitch a little bit.
Well, let's play this out to its full extent though. You got people that will riot in the streets at the drop of a hat over literally anything. Okay. I mean, you got statues and things,
hold on.
All this stuff.
Anything that's not important a lot of times.
Anything that's not important, that's what I mean. This is important. So God knows what will happen here. I mean, this might be one of the most important social issues that we've had in decades. So
yeah, I want to go on record as saying fuck the rainforest. I just want to go on record right now.
I don't care that it's on fire. Spider-Man needs to stay in the Avengers movies. Come on now.
Absolutely.
I don't care that the rainforest makes up 15% of the oxygen that we breathe. Like fuck the rainforest.
I saw somebody was putting together a petition to storm Sony to.
Hit, I thought it was gonna be. I thought it was gonna be to storm the rain. I thought it was gonna be to storm the rainforest.
No. Fuck the rainforest.
How dare you catch on fire!
No,
I am outraged. What are you hiding behind that fire? Aliens? Sorry. Oh man. All right. So yeah, that's what's destroying the internet right now, and the memes are just unbelievable. Like, I've seen some of the best memes in a long time. One of those memes being, oh, so Sony's taking Spider-Man from the MCU. Well, here's Night Monkey, you know, stuff like that. So, love it. All right, so, and it's gone crazy about that. Um, I'm gonna go into my comic book stuff right now and talk about. I'm reading Maximum Carnage, which is a book that I was not able to read when I was younger because I was very poor and I couldn't afford the. I think it's like 14 issues that made up the Maximum Carnage series. So I'm like, you know what? I'm an adult. I got money now. I'm gonna buy that damn book. And so I bought that damn book. You know, the whole story event, and it is disappointing as hell. Like, it is some of the worst storytelling, some of the worst dialogue, some of the worst art. Oh my god, I can't with this book, and I feel like it's like a required reading kind of situation from school where I'm just forcing myself to get through it just so I can say, oh, I read that.
Yeah.
But it is absolutely terrible.
If I'm right, Maximum Carnage is where one of my favorite Spider-Man villains, Demo Goblin, was introduced.
He wasn't introduced, actually. He was introduced in Infinity War, I believe.
Oh, that's right.
And but he gets a larger role in this story. He becomes an actual like character because I guess all the other doppelgangers were destroyed, but this one for some strange reason. And so this one survives and becomes part of the posse of Carnage, I guess. And it's just, oh boy, it's rough. It's absolutely rough. And then speaking of blast from the past from my childhood, Final Fantasy VIII, one of my absolute favorite Final Fantasy games, which has not been re-released basically since it came out. I think maybe there had been a PC version of it, but it had not been re-released or remastered in years because they actually lost a lot of the code, from what I understand, and so they actually had to take a copy of the game and like recode it from there, and that I guess is a huge pain. But yeah, because I guess it was being developed at the same time as Final Fantasy IX, so I guess like I don't know what happened. Somehow the material, like the like actual like code and the saved data had been lost somewhere in translation. But it's finally coming out with a remastered version September 3rd, and I cannot wait because that's one of my absolute favorite Final Fantasies. And I hear a lot of people talk about it, but I can tell they never played it because they didn't understand like the magic system and such. But I am really excited about that.
That's strange to me because I feel like a lot of the times, especially with these console-based games, they'll send out almost like a beta to like beta testers, and they'll be pre-production and pre-release versions. So I'm wondering why they didn't have access to one of those early builds to try and at least restore.
If I'm not mistaken, the YouTube video I watched about it, because obviously YouTube videos are the end-all be-all of actual information.
Yeah.
The one that I watched about it, apparently, there's plenty of copies of the game. There's plenty of beta versions and all that stuff. There's plenty of that kind of stuff out there. It's the actual saved data code, like the mother code, as it were.
Oh, like before it was compiled and all that.
Yeah, it's that stuff that had been missing. That had either been destroyed or lost.
Oh, yeah.
So they actually had. So they had to actually take the game itself, that's like an actual like completed game, and go back and remaster that. And I guess that's a lot harder than just taking the prefab version of the game and doing that. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's almost like they had to reverse engineer their own game, is what it comes down to.
Well, that sounds like it's going to be really expensive.
Well, I mean, they've been doing it for years, so I don't know where they're at now, but hopefully the price point is going to be reasonable.
Oh, $60 is reasonable, and Ultimate Edition for $100.
Not for a remastered game. Are you kidding me?
Well, tell that to.
Oh, wait! I forget. You're part of the master race. My bad.
So I'm just
you've got that kind of money.
Tell that to SquareSoft, or Square Enix or whatever they are now. Square rectangles.
Square pegs. Yeah. Square pegs and round holes.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So let's flip it over to Triple B here, Mr. Triple B. Why don't you give us a nice hot dose of your Kickstarter addiction?
I have got one for you. Actually, so I normally do like comic book Kickstarters, but today I've got something a little different. I love dice. I'm addicted, and this is one of my addictions, dice. And Kickstarter dice combines two addictions. There's nothing better than Kickstarter dice. This one is called Cursed and Blessed D20 dice. That is a pair of D20s that they're trying to get off the ground, and it's actually really reasonably priced considering it. For $10, you can get one or the other, or for $15, you get both. And you can get either the Cursed or the Blessed dice. Let me pull it up here. Here we go. The Cursed D20 actually has bits of graveyard and crossroads dirt suspended in the dice.
Oh my god.
Ooh.
And the Blessed dice has iron filings encased by salt suspended in the dice.
Oh my god. So basically, one die you could kill a vampire with, and the other one you can do like black magic with?
Right,
like
right,
voodoo?
yeah.
Okay.
With your D20.
So many years I was going to say, many years of watching Supernatural has taught me that one dice will be able to knock out ghosts and fairies and such, and the other dice I'll be able to summon a crossroads demon and make a Faustian deal where in 10 years hellhounds will come and take my soul to hell.
Right.
Now, and the best part about this dice is if you get the blessed one, then you can tell if there's a vampire at your table or a werewolf, right? Because if you're like, hey, why don't you use this D20 and you roll it over to them and they touch it and it burns them, obviously there's some kind of like evil, right? Like a demon, a vampire, werewolf, right?
Yeah, that's what I get.
Which means that Felton won't be able to play at my table anymore if I.
Oh, what are you saying? That I'm a vampire or werewolf?
No, I'm just saying that you're like one of those poop demons. You know, not really like.
Well,
really so
I'll
much
tell you
threatening.
what. I feel like after buying this cereal Poop Like a Champion, that I do have a poop demon coming out the back side of me most of the time. Because, my God, it is high in fiber.
I'm just saying, like, you're not one of those demons that I'm worried about, like, losing my soul to so much as maybe you might clog up my toilet or, you know, something like that. Like, just do something really shitty to my house, you know?
Yeah. I don't disagree. I've got nothing to defend against that. That's absolutely true.
All right. Well, on that note, Mr. Shit Demon, why don't you hit us with some of that video game news? Nuge?
Well, I think the only thing that just ever needs to be discussed from here on out is the fact that Death Stranding, right? This is Hideo Kojima's like what's the word for his like ultimate work, his magnum opus. Okay, this game, Death Stranding, is also going to double as a Norman Reedus peeing simulator. So you are going to be able to pee in Death Stranding. Now, you're not going to be able to see, CG Norman Reedus's wiener, right? But you will be able to see him pee. You'll be able to aim it. And they are also saying, we don't know how yet, but they're also saying that you're also going to be able to use the urine as a weapon. So,
oh my God, that's fantastic.
I'm thinking like Overwatch, Anna has her healing or damaging pee jars that she throws at people. So I'm thinking it's going to be something like that, like Norman Reedus pees in a jar and throws it at the ghosts, and then you can see the urine dripping down them, so he can avoid where they're at because now he can see the invisible things.
Now, isn't this game also a babysitter sim?
Yeah, you've got like these little fetuses in a container that apparently can detect the invisible monsters. There's just a lot of weird imagery, and more so on the gameplay, like there's not going to be like character death. So when you die, you just go to like the I guess underworld realm, and you have to find your way back to the land of the living. So it's just kind of a real weird world that this exists in.
Oh my God, I love it. I love the sound of that though. pretty excited about that.
There's also a lot of games that have had P in it over the years too. So I was surprised.
Did you have to research this?
I had to research it. It wasn't just Duke Nukem 3D. It was The Sims.
Weren't you able to pee in Maximum Pain? Max Payne, I mean.
I don't remember.
I don't know why. I remember you could. Maybe it wasn't that one, but it was another one of those shooters where you could go up to the toilet and pee for some strange reason.
I mean, it was Duke Nukem, yeah. But maybe
Duke
Max
Nukem,
Payne.
Of course, but
you could flush the toilets and play with the hand dryers and the paper towel dispensers in Max Payne. That was fun.
Maybe that's what it was. Maybe I just pretend like my character was peeing, and then I went and washed my hands, and I went through the whole rigmarole.
Yeah. Well, and to top it all off, there's a new game. It's called P World VR. So, in case you were wondering, this genre is really taking off, the video game P genre, and it's all thanks to Hideo Kojima and Norman Reedus. So.
Oh my God! Just visionaries. Obviously, visionaries in their field.
Absolutely.
So, real quick, so Felton and I are going to be attending Dragon Con. Very excited about that. I actually got a media pass to go for nerdbastards.com, but because it's so up in the air as what's going on with that company, I didn't sign up for any interviews with any of the people there because I didn't want to. I didn't know what to expect. So I don't know what the media pass will include now, but I will definitely be talking about that on the podcast when we get back. But I think I still get to do some behind the scenes kind of stuff and some meet and greet kind of stuff. So that'd be pretty cool.
Very cool.
I think we'll probably have to wait till we get back from Dragon Con, but we're gonna try to do the podcast now. We're gonna try to put up the podcast episodes on Tuesdays and Thursdays. Correct?
Yes.
Okay, and we'll probably have to wait till we get back from Dragon Con for that, just because of all the stuff that will be up in the air. But then after that, you guys can expect to hear us on Tuesdays and Thursdays. Same bat time, same bat channel. Basically, anytime Tuesday and Thursday, because that's just how we roll. Because we just suck at this. So that being said, does anybody have anything? Oh, real quick, I just want to tell a delightful little story about how Foxtail and I went to Universal this last weekend and for her birthday, and how we got to actually walk around and take our time in the Harry Potter area. Was it Harry Potter World? I think it was what it's called, something, or Wizarding World of Harry Potter, something like that.
Yeah.
And that's a delightful little area. I didn't get her a wand this time. I'm gonna get her a wand because we followed around all the little kids like we were creepy child snatchers, and we watched as they went up to these little designated areas where they could play with their wands, and it was really cool. At one point in time, there's a drawing of a skeleton, right? But you know how in the Wizarding World, everything moves and everything. So the skeleton was moving, but when you go up there with your wand, the skeleton uses obviously some Xbox technology, and it mimics your movements after you've used the wand. So I was watching some girl basically shaking her butt as a skeleton up on the screen there, and it was really cool. I was like, oh, okay, all kinds of little things. There's a little fountain that's a mermaid, and when you use the wand, it squirts water out of its mouth, so that's kind of cool. Especially if you didn't suspect that happening. I got to see this little 6-year-old get sprayed right in the face with water because they weren't expecting it to spray water. It was pretty phenomenal. Just a bunch of fun things like that. So if you guys haven't been to the Universal Wizarding World area, it was awesome. And what was great is we went in the evening, and it turns out in the evening, I guess kids have to go to bed and things like that, or parents have better things to do, whatever the case may be is. But it was so easy to walk around and actually look at stuff, and there was just a lot of detail in that place. So really, really cool. Does anybody else have anything nerdy to talk about right now?
I just gotta say how much I love art.
I totally lost you there. How much? I'm sorry. How much you love what?
The sharp turn that story took. We went from a wholesome, delightful to soft children.
Well, you have to understand, Triple B, that all stories with me go from delightful to horrific really quickly, actually. That's why I write comic books, actually.
The last time I was at Universal and we were on Gringotts, what is that? Gringotts, right? I don't remember the name of the rest of it, but it's the
Yeah, I think it's something like the Gringotts Escape or something like that.
Escape from Gringotts.
The Gringotts ride.
I don't know where the hell these people were from, and I'm not a jerk, but my God, they had these. Yeah, I'm a jerk.
The jury's out on that one.
Yeah, but they were just like these teenage girls, and apparently wherever these folks were from, they had never heard of this. I don't know if you guys are aware of this, but this thing, it's called personal space. And I don't like it when people touch me, and they just kept like flailing around and moving and standing too close, and my blood pressure was, going to be to the point where I was just gonna start spraying blood out my eyes. So they do the photo.
I mean, your blood pressure sits about that.
Yeah, I'm like floating right there. So they go to do the photo, and I'm thinking, oh, thank God, okay, whew. We're done. This is over with. No, the people just hold up the line and let them continue on behind us. So they come running up and literally run into me. And as they're trying to catch up, and I just look, and I must have had this ice cold, horrifying glare. And I was like, "Excuse me, personal space." And I just, the child looked at me horrified, and then they started speaking in, they were from Gibraltar or something, and apologizing. I was like, okay, just personal space. It's my favorite show. We got here. Let me play the slides on the wall. Look at the slides. Here's my 1 personal space, 2 personal space. Get out of my personal space. 3 personal space. Get out of it. So yeah, that was awful.
So this is how I know that we're really good friends, because I lost my S at Universal as well. Because there was a party of 20 some odd children and I think maybe 2 adults behind us, right? And they were wrestling each other, they were pushing each other into other people, they were jumping off of railings, they were just it was like a whole herd of monkeys being corralled by 2 really just unenthused zookeepers. They were just just keep going forward, just keep going forward. So finally I turned around and I'm like, listen, get off of me, stop touching me, or somebody's getting elbowed in the forehead. And Foxtail's like, shh, you can't say that. I was like, the hell, I can't say that. This is my space. That's their space. If they get my space and they get elbowed in the face, it was their own fault. And the parents looked at me dumbfounded, and I was waiting for them to say something, and they didn't. They just kind of they kind of corralled the kids behind them. So now all 20 kids became the people behind them's problem. But hey, at least they were no longer touching me. So.
Excuse me, sir. Did you threaten to elbow children in the face?
Yes, I did. Yes, I did. And it was on the Transformers ride, which is a ride for children. But you know what? They would have gotten transformed by my elbow to the face.
Into good kids.
I don't care. I don't. Into fantastic children. I would, or just, very slow children. But one or the other would have happened.
Here's the thing, though. I think that threats from strangers is an important phase of development for children. And I don't think that happens nearly enough for our youth these days.
I remember when I was growing up, there were just a plethora of adults just waiting to whoop my ass. A plethora of them. And they offered their services on the daily. And it didn't have to be anything. I could have just been oh, I really want that candy bar. And there'd be some old man there just would you like me to beat your child for you? It was just I didn't even have to have a tantrum, and there'd be just people just volunteering their services. Oh, I've got 5 belts in the car right now. It's oh my God, what is going on here? So nowadays, if you just look at somebody else's kid wrong, a lot of times, you'll get oh, don't talk to my kid that way. Don't look at my kid that way. But you know what? Maybe your kid wouldn't be a shit if you let more people look or talk to your kid like that. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
And that is another one to grow on. By the MERS.
I tend to use kids like that as an. I very loudly.
Oh, we're losing you again. What? You have to repeat yourself again, Triple B. We lost you.
Oh, did you lose me? Am I back?
Yep, you're back.
Yeah, your microphone's cutting out. You got to get a little bit closer to it.
Okay. I tend to use kids like that as an example for my kids. I very loud. The brats that are being loud, and I say, if you ever act like this, I will beat your ass. So,
Well, the great thing about Triple B is that Triple B actually has a small army of children himself.
that's
So if he had been in line with those children like I was, it could have been it actually could have been a brawl. Like he could have used his, because I mean you can't fault kids fighting kids, right? So he could have just been like, attack minions, and like pointed his herd at the other kids, and I mean whatever happens, right?
That's right. Yeah.
Now my son is rather brawlic. He's rather big, so he probably could have taken at least half of those kids. So I should have brought him with me and just let him loose. Like
There you go.
He spends all day being big for no reason. You know what I'm saying?
Now he's got a reason.
All this time. Yeah, he spends all this time being barbarian size, and he never gets a chance to be a barbarian. And that one time I could have just been like, you know what, Conan that shit. Go ahead, just Conan the hell out of this.
He just needs
one
that
of the
focus.
Kids, exactly. Use one of those kids to beat the other kids. Like use him as a weapon. Just Anyways, oh my god, I think this one might actually get us censored for child abuse.
Gotta get that boy in a karate class. Oh my god.
That's what I'm saying. Or wrestling. All right. So we're at the 25 mark. Who was it that rolled the dice last time? Was it Triple B or Felton?
Yeah, I think it was me.
Okay. But Triple B rolled before you, correct?
Yeah.
I think so. Yeah.
So I believe it's my turn this time. So who's going to roll the d20 for me to add or subtract? Don't everybody jump at once.
Right. I've got mine here ready.
Oh,
All right, go ahead. Roll that shit.
All right, here we go. 5.
Ooh, are you going to add, subtract, or do nothing with that?
Let's add.
Going to add 5 to my roll. My roll is an 18, so that brings it over 20. So I get to pick someone to tell a terrible story. And, I mean, obviously, we already had Triple B tell a terrible story, I think the last time or the time before that. And Felton is just a plethora of terrible stories.
I just told my embarrassing story about the furry molesting me. Now, come on. No.
That's true, and that was unprompted. That wasn't without the die. So, Oh, it's a tough one. You know what, Triple B? I know you've only told one so far, so let's hear something embarrassing.
Okay, let's see. Embarrassing.
And it's got to be better than that blue cheese story.
I don't know.
Although I do, looking back, I do enjoy that.
Yeah, that is a fantastic story.
I'm not sure I have one more embarrassing than.
Oh, did we lose him?
Oh. Let me think.
All right. Well, while you're thinking about it, let me just do like a little housekeeping, I guess. At Kingdom of Comics, you know about Kingdom of Comics, right, Felton?
Yes.
They're the people that bought out Viera Comics.
Yes.
I guess. Oh, you know what? By the time this gets posted, then it'll already have happened. So that's kind of useless. Never mind.
Well, now my interest is peaked anyway, so you might as well tell the story.
Well, in retrospect, they will be having a Marvel 80th anniversary celebration at their store, where they'll be doing like 15% off of anything to do with Marvel on the 24th. But again, this will be out after that, so we'll just kind of sweep that one under the rug a little bit. And yeah, that's pretty much all I got for that. All right, Triple B, what you got?
I may have shot my wad with.
I mean, you could tell us a story about you shooting your wad, whichever whatever makes you feel better.
Normally, I have just all kinds of it.
All right. Well, you know what? You owe us one.
I owe you one.
You owe us one, and you know what? I'm not gonna tap Felton again because he's just got so many good ones. So I am gonna actually step up and tell an embarrassing story. All right. Everybody's cool with that?
Absolutely.
Sure.
All right. But you owe us one for the next one.
I will.
Triple B. All right. So, high school, right? I was into all kinds of different like after school programs, but one of the ones that I loved because of my background with my aunt and uncle who own a scene shop in Arizona. was stagecraft. I love to build the sets and to set the lights and to run the speaker cables and all that kind of stuff. Like paint the backgrounds and such, right? So one day during my senior year, where I only had like I think 2 or 3 classes I actually had to go to, and they were in the beginning of the school year. So the rest of the time I spent kind of building sets and things like that. I was up in the rafters, which is completely illegal, and could have probably broken my neck because the fall is like 20 feet down, something crazy like that. I was running speaker cable from the control booth to the back of the house. Okay. And as I was doing so, I was wearing one of those just stylish automotive mechanic kind of onesies, with the zipper up the front. I forget what they're called exactly, but
Coveralls?
Coveralls. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
And
I like onesie.
it was more of a onesie, and so I'm going through the rafters, and I get kind of caught up at one point in time, and I had to like do like this long lunge thing, and I heard a ripping sound, which I thought was the onesie ripping, So I'm like, well, fuck it, it's just the onesie, I don't care. And completed what I was supposed to do. This is like mid-morning kind of time, and I went from there after doing a couple more things around the stage to lunch. So I'm sitting at lunch, and I used to sit with like a lot of females, my girlfriend and her friends, and a couple guys, and we're sitting in the grass like Indian style in a circle, and there's a lot of like giggling and whispering going on between the girls, but I kind of ignored that because they were having their conversation and stuff like that. And one of my guy friends though just kept like mean mugging me. He kept giving me this like terrible look, and he's just like, is nobody going to address this? And I'm like, what is going on? Like, address what? And he's like, man, your dick and balls are hanging out. And I was like, I'm sorry, what? And I looked down, and apparently it wasn't the onesie that ripped. It was my shorts and my boxers that ripped when I made that like extended leg reach, to get across. And so all of my goodies are on display for everybody. Now here's the I guess the good part of the story is that nobody was like making fun of it, so obviously it wasn't like too small or whatever the case may be, whatever people like freak out about. But yeah, I had to get up. Well, I finished my lunch first. I just kind of put my tray in front of it so you couldn't really see what was going on, and finish my lunch first because you have to have a healthy lunch.
Right,
and then I went, yeah, exactly. And then I went home for the day because I obviously didn't have like another pair of shorts and boxers with me. But yeah, that was, and thank God I had like a pass to get off of campus, because I couldn't imagine being stopped by like the on-campus police officer or something like that. Just like, listen, I got to go home because this is happening. But yeah, that was an embarrassing point in my life to have everybody at that lunch like see my what do they call it? My twig and two berries, my my
Frankenbeans.
My Frankenbeans, yeah, all that stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's my embarrassing story for today, and I think we will close it out on that. And I will say that I'm the Merce. I think Felton died for my story. Felton? Yeah, he can't even talk right now.
Speechless.
All right. Well, I'm the Merce, and you are
Bald bearded bard.
And I think Felton died, so we'll just have to move on without him this time.
Oh, he's messaging. He says his mic cut out.
Oh, his mic cut out.
There.
All right. And I'm Felton, and we'll catch you guys on the next one.
Hello? Hell, God damn it.
Are you back yet, Felton?